You know what I just realized? I haven't used the word loot box in a decent amount of time in my videos. I knew there was something missing from my life these past few days. All joking aside, let's talk about loot boxes. This is actually good news, though. So, two countries that have been pretty proactive about tackling the issue of loot boxes are Netherlands and Belgium. The former deliberated a few months ago that out of the 10 games they studied, 4 of them violated the country's gambling laws, particularly highlighting games that allow players to cash out randomly earned in-game items, so PUBG, CSGO, FIFA 18, games of that nature. Netherlands also gave trespassing companies a deadline by which they needed to comply with Dutch gambling laws if they don't wish to face fines, sales bans, or other consequences. The latter deliberated that paid loot boxes as a whole violated their gambling laws after investigating games like Battlefront 2, Overwatch, FIFA 18, and Counter-Strike Global Offensive, regardless of whether they were pay-to-win or cosmetic only, citing how if there's a game element, a bet can lead to profit or loss, and chance has a role, then it is gambling. In fact, they went as far as stipulating that those who fail to remove loot boxes may be fined by the government, face sales bans, and even face criminal charges. Belgium also said at one point that they want loot boxes banned across all of Europe, and there are seemingly talks happening all across the entire European Union on this issue. It's probably safe to say that companies like EA, who have put all their eggs into the exploitative loot box basket to achieve their current financial success, are none too happy about these deliberations. Another company that's starting to feel the pressure is Valve, who a month ago on June 19th, 2018, disabled trading as well as the Steam marketplace in Netherlands due to the recently imposed deliberations and sanctions. Players could still open loot boxes, but they could no longer buy or sell items via Steam. Since then, things have been relatively silent on that front. But just a few days ago, on July 11th, 2018, Valve released an update for one of their marquee titles, Counter-Strike Global Offensive. If you scroll down to the miscellaneous section of the patch notes, you will see that some of the bullet points read as follows. Updated Steam and CSGO account restrictions for users in Netherlands and Belgium. Steam trading and Steam market features are now re-enabled for Steam accounts in Netherlands. Customers in Netherlands and Belgium will be restricted from opening containers. In other words, players can buy or sell or trade in the Steam marketplace once more, but they can no longer open crates that grant them random items. Loot boxes for CSGO have been disabled outright in those countries. Given Netherlands and Belgium's deliberation, there was really no other way to go about it. You either remove the ability to buy or sell items, but keep the element of chance, or you keep the ability to trade with real currency, but remove the element of chance. In this case, Valve has chosen to favor trading over chance, which obviously makes a lot more financial sense. So now all trading and purchases in CSGO will be upfront with no RNG involved, and that should be enough to keep Netherlands and Belgium's targets off of Valve's back. The issue never was about Valve allowing trading, it was about how they paved a platform for gambling, but with chance no longer being a factor, there shouldn't be any more problems. Now, do keep in mind that this is just the beginning. So far, the only game we have seen loot boxes forcefully pulled from has been Counter-Strike Global Offensive, and the only countries this has happened in so far are Netherlands and Belgium. To make a real difference to rid of loot boxes outright, deliberations like these would have to be made across a much wider spectrum of games across many more regions in the world. This is a great start though. It's the most tangible results we have gotten on the matter since the Battlefront 2 loot box controversy made waves across the gaming industry. It hasn't even been a year since the controversy began, and already we are seeing tangible discussions and investigations being conducted, and we're seeing tangible legislations being passed. This whole thing will likely keep building like an unstoppable, ever-growing snowball rolling down a hill. As a matter of fact, the Australian Senate has very recently approved a motion to investigate loot boxes in video games, which we can expect to hear back about by September 17th, 2018. And while France has declared that loot boxes cannot legally be defined as gambling in the country, French regulators have acknowledged concerns over loot boxes, and have expressed that they will continue investigating the matter and find ways to mitigate the potential damage they can cause. More importantly, loot boxes are enough of a stigma nowadays that companies are backing away from loot boxes on their own. EA, for example, has made it a point to emphasize that upcoming titles such as Battlefield 5 and Anthem will not feature loot boxes. We also recently saw Shadow of War back away from loot boxes entirely, though they did so long after they had finished swindling that initial burst of players, after the damage was already done. What's important though is that we're seeing more and more game companies sell the mantra of no loot boxes as a positive attribute for their upcoming games, and that's a huge victory within itself. There is still a lot of work to be done though. There are still plenty of publishers out there who intend to continue employing glorified gambling mechanics in their games. Activision Blizzard still employs loot boxes in titles like Call of Duty, Overwatch, Destiny, and more. EA will still employ loot boxes in their true flagship franchise, FIFA, alongside other EA Sports titles and their Ultimate Team modes. But every change of status quo has to start from somewhere, and by bringing down the hammer on one of gaming's biggest companies, Valve, and one of gaming's biggest franchises, Counter-Strike, Belgium and Netherlands have sparked a flame that will hopefully grow into a wildfire that will purge the infestation that is loot boxes from our games. Hopefully we'll see Europe, the most active continent on this front, continue cracking down on other popular franchises, which will in turn inspire other countries and continents to follow through as well, which will in turn inspire the general public to keep pushing back against greedy publishers, which will in turn further discourage said greedy publishers from pursuing chance-based microtransactions moving forward. Hopefully this vicious cycle will continue to be reinforced in the months and years to come. Regardless of whether countries define it as gambling or find another more appropriate legal definition for it, they have the support of the general public, who mostly agree that something has to be done about this mechanic that has ruined so many games and exploited so many people. The gaming industry has done nothing about it, choosing to be complacent instead, to benefit from the blatant manipulation of its consumers and of the medium that they represent. So what other choice is there but to rely on entities that can override and overrule their irresponsibilities? With that, I would like to end this news update. Thank you for tuning in. If you enjoy my content and would like to support this channel directly, consider donating on Patreon. And to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Yong Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Yong out.